hiya, I was sitting colouring, so I thought I'd put the video on and just come on and have a wee chat with you all. Some of you may have already seen this beautiful, cute, I love it, the little dragon. This is Trolla and Smuggy, I think it's called, by Daria Carcassoi. Apologies if I'm saying that wrong, Daria. I love that artwork, it's super cute. I did it in green as well, and then I decided that I had to do it in the teal and purple because that's my two favourite colours. But what I'm working on just now is this one, and this is by Take You She Art from Etsy. That's her shop. This one is very grayscale, as you can see from the grey lining in her face, and it's quite a heavy grayscale. So normally I would do my Asian ladies paler skinned, but because there's such a lot of grayscale in her face, I've had to darken it, and I've not finished with her skin tone as yet. I'll probably go back to the skin tone as I go through what I'm doing on this picture. She's looking really cute just now. I've been using a few different reds on her clothing to get depth of colour and shine, so I'm quite happy with how she's looking just now. Another thing that I wanted to talk about while I was coming on here was these colour wheels. These are extremely good to help you get started with the basics. For example, it gives you the idea that if you have a blue-green similar to this colour and you add blue to it, it gives you this kind of grey-blue tone. And the same with if you add blue to white, it's saying that you can get this purpley lilac-y tone. So it's quite handy, and all you're doing each time is just moving the wheel around, and it's sort of giving you an idea of yellow and orange. If you add red, you get that kind of orange. So it's really good. It's guide to mixing colours, and it gives you this side as well, which I find really helpful, because if I'm looking for a colour family, not so much in the one that I've just done, the one that I'm doing just now, but in this one, with doing the yellows, the purples, the purples, it was really good because I could see that the deeper family violets and blue violets, and even looking at these shading here, it was very informative because it was giving me the shade, which is this one, the tone, which is this one, and the tint, which is this one. So it gives you an idea of shading and toning. I think you could probably get the idea of what I'm trying to tell you in this little dragon. So yeah, they're really helpful, and they're cheap as chips. This one I got off Amazon. You can get all different ones. You can actually make your own as well. There's plenty of colouring sites that actually give you these charts, and you just print it out and put a brad in it and make your own basically. So they are really good. So anyway, back to my Asian lady. I'm quite happy with how her clothing is coming. As I said, still feel like I need to do more work in this skin tone, because I'm not happy with how dark this grey tone's looking. But I'll work on that as I go through. Just now I'm just sort of deepening her jacket with different reds. So just now I'm using a Black Widow BW89 Ladybug pencil. I really like this pencil because it's very waxy and it keeps a nice point. As you can tell, I like a nice sharp point when I'm colouring, so that's always good for me. Oil pencils actually are quite good for that as well. I think like your Brute Funers and your Humies and some of in the ones that Crafter's Companion bought out the first time before their colour blends, they're all really good because they're oil based and they certainly keep the point longer, and keep it sharp as well for a longer time. But I actually think I prefer the lay down of wax pencils, but I will use hybrids and I will go to oil pencils from time to time. So as you can see, I'm just darkening patches of our coat and just bringing in the darker colours to our coat. And it's just a case of, when you're doing this, you're doing lots of little layers. It might be, I think there's about 5 or 6 layers on this jacket so far, and there's about 4 different reds on it. This red's the one that I want for the top coat because it's given a lovely shine. I did underpaint it a little bit with orange, so I then put the red over the top. And if you don't know what underpainting's like, it's just a term that an artist term, and when you do it, for example, if I take this orange, just make sure I'm still in camera view before I show you, I'm just making sure that we're still, I'm working on a Totally Tiffany rotating board. You can get these rotating boards from Amazon, Crafter's Companion stock them, you can get them from quite a lot of stockists, and I like them. It comes with a clip, but I don't like the clip because it's very aggressive, so I tend not to use the clip, and I'll just lay the artwork on top and use it so that I can spin it round. So I wasn't going to do this red, but I've just decided that I'll do this red so that I can show you what I was talking about when I said about underpainting. So some people will say that you underpaint with a complementary colour, i.e. I'm underpainting this with this orangey red, but I could have underpainted this with lilac as well, and I'll show you actually if I can find my lilac. That's not lilac, hold on a sec. Here's well, this one will do. So I'll just do a little bit just to show you what I mean, because you'll see on this level, just double checking my big head wasn't in the way, this is a very quick, just to try and show you what I'm talking about. So as you saw, that was just one layer basically of each of these colours, and then I'm going to go in with my red, which I would like to use, and I'm doing a very soft layer. With the thing about pencils is it's not a fast medium to use. A picture like this can take you anything from 4 hours, 3-4 hours to 3-4 days, maybe a week, maybe longer. It depends how fast you colour. And although this is Creative Crafting World, Linda Chapman's World of Paper, the lovingly known brick, which is 250 GSMs. It comes in 250 sheets, and it's really reasonable. Just now it's actually on their website for £15, I believe. It's really reasonable, and I think it's got a decent enough tooth. Now, to explain the tooth is what you need for the pencils to bind to. It's no good using like a super smooth decoupage paper, Pro paper, Fabriano printing paper, anything like that, because you'll find that they're very good for putting ink onto, because they don't drink the ink and they don't grab the ink into the paper, so they're not vampires of ink. But for pencil, you don't want that, because they'll just sit, a pencil would just sit on the top and it would become slick very quickly. which is no good. You need it to have a bit of bite. Now this is very controversial because a lot of the colouring books that you get on the market are not the best quality of papers. I do a subscription to Colouring Heaven, and I am not particularly keen on their paper and their books. I find them too slick, I don't find them very thick. I feel that they crumple under me when I'm colouring, so it's not the paper that I enjoy using, so I tend to avoid using it, and I will photocopy my book onto something else, which you are allowed to do with Colouring Heaven, which is a real bonus, and it's really good because some artists don't like you to copy their colouring books. So if you are somebody that doesn't like the idea of having to colour onto the paper that's given in colouring books, then the best way to go is to go to places like Etsy and buy the PDF versions of the artwork and colour it that way, because that way you can print that artwork onto anything that you can colour onto. So if you wanted, you could print it onto printable acetate, you could print it onto vellum, you could print it onto sumi paper, rice paper. Not 100% sure what those mediums would be like to colour onto, because I've not actually given that a try as yet. It is something that I am looking forward to investigating during the next few months, just to see what sort of things you can print onto and colour onto using obviously pencils, alcohol markers, watercolour paints, oil paints, anything like that, because my interest is in colour, it isn't necessarily just in pencil. And I am not professional in any way. I'm self-taught, and also I've watched people on YouTube like Sarah Rennie Clark, who is very good. She actually designs her own colouring books, and she actually is very good at using children's colouring books and doing colour alongs with you, and it gives you lots of tips and ideas. It's really good. And it was her that told me about the colour palettes. She's got something that you can either buy or download it, and it's like little colour palette cards, and it just gives you an idea of where to go if you're starting out and you're not good with putting these colours together. I'm quite lucky because I've always kind of had an eye for what colour works with what from whenever I was young. It was always something I was interested in. So personally I haven't used anything like that, but as I say, I have used my colour wheel, and I do think that there is a place for mediums like that to be on the market. There is people that do colouring classes. I know that Kit and Clowder do colouring classes. Ink Lily have a colouring tutorial video step by step that Mel Heaton does, which is very informative. I haven't really been one for following anybody's lead when it comes to that. I've coloured all my life basically, from being a little girl to being the 47-year-old that I am now. Even before I crafted, any time in my life when I was finding a bit stressful or I was a bit low, I would quite often just grab a set of felt pens or children's pencils and a children's colouring book and just sit and lose myself for an hour or two. So, and not that my colouring was anything like it is now. I've improved greatly to those days, which is quite funny. I've always loved colouring with alcohol markers, and before that I used to be really into colouring with twinkling H2Os, because I used to follow the dearly departed Jane Nescarento Sheena Douglas, Stephanie Waitman, you know, all the queens of crafts that brought all this beautiful stuff into our world. So yeah, so I've always coloured, even just stamped out line art and coloured that with markers and paints and things. But it's relatively new that I've took to pencils. I used to do pencils with my markers. I would do a base layer of markers, then I would go on and put pencil over it to bring in shading, etc. And that does work really well, and I do recommend that too, because it's really good. That fills the tooth of your paper really quickly, so when you do that you can actually colour a lot quicker, because as you can see, this little flower, all the time I've been talking, I've been doing this little flower for you just to show you the difference between the underpainting with the orange and the underpainting with the purple. I think that you can see that with the purple the red looks a bit darker. I might have to hold it up a bit for you. The red looks a bit darker here, but with the orange the red looks more shiny and brighter, and that's just because of the difference in the underpainting. And I don't know, an artist might disagree with me, but as I say, I'm not an artist and I'm not professional, but I don't think either colour for me was the wrong colour to use there, because I like the effect that I'm managing to get with both the orange underpainting and the purple underpainting, because I think that it's given this little flower hair clip a depth, and as you can see, just going back and forward lightly, going back and forward, and adding in the depth to the little flower. Now, as I was saying about this artist has been quite good and has given you the grayscale to work with. So here our skin is a lot darker, because our hair has cast in a shadow. So that's what you call a cast shadow, because something beside it is making it darker, giving it a shadow. And our chin is making our neck darker, giving it this dark shadow. So that would be where you would bring in your darker colouring, because you want to make that dark shadow stand out, because you want that to be your darkest point. So you just keep adding your layers until you're happy with it, whatever colour you decide to use, and just keep adding your layers and building up the colour. Now you might decide that this bit here is to be dark, so I don't know if this will work because I've never used such a strong, so I don't think I'll do that actually. I think that might be a bit too strong. What am I looking for? I would like a pink. I'm not sure. Let's try this pink. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. At the end of the day, it's only a piece of paper, so if you do something you don't like it, you can either erase it with an electric razor like this, or a battery op eraser like this, or you can just use a normal eraser. You get these Faber-Castell dust-free type as well, so you can do that and it erases it. So nothing, if you do something and you're like, I shouldn't have went that colour, I'm not really keen on that, then don't feel bad about it, just change it. It's your drawing, it's your colouring at the end of the day. So, and I'm not sure about this colour scheme as yet. I think maybe that's still too pale, so I'll probably look little bit darker a colour into that. So and basically this is what you're doing. It's trial and error. Sometimes you will see me with a little book. I call this my stamp colouring guide, but basically all it is it's a little colour swatch that I've done myself. For example, for me, when I was doing my fox, I worked out that I liked the Crayola deep gold brown, I liked the Castle terracotta, I liked a Decotime pencil 130, a Decotime 129, a Crayola deep almond, and Faber-Castell classic in silver, black for shadow. So that was like my little recipe card, and I stuck with that for my fox. I've equally done that for trees. I've got a little chart. For my rabbit, I've got myself a little chart, and you can see that I actually worked out my rabbit colours up here before transferring them to see what I wanted down here. So that's just something I do. I can't even tell you what that was for because I haven't bothered to write in. You don't have to do that. That's just something I do. A lot of people will tell you that the best thing to do is to swatch your pencils when you buy a set of pencils. I have done it with some of my pencils, but to be honest, the pencils change. It depends what kind of paper you're using. If you're using different types of paper, then your pencil colouring can greatly change to what it is on one piece to another piece. So I personally think that if you're using, for example, I'm using this, I might keep a scrap bit of this lying at the side of my desk and just scribble on that until I find something I'm happy with, rather than me doing a whole big swatch and looking at my swatch and then finding out that my black currant that I've just put on my artwork looks nothing like it should because it's on different paper. And believe me, pencils have an effect what you use. I mean, that you can go from your Prismacolors and your Polychromos, your Caran d'Ache, your Holbein, which are all pretty much up there with the best of the best, and then you can go down to your Crayolas and your Decotime and your Brut Funers, blah blah blah, which are like your cheapy cheaps. Some of the Brut Funers, I have to say, aren't as cheapy cheaps. On saying that, there's a set of Brut Funers that are very similar to Holbeins, very similar. Really nice pencils actually. So don't think, oh, you have to be up there and buy all the expensive ones, your Derwents, your Polychromos, your as I said, your Prismacolor, etc. Because not really, you don't. I mean, you can get good results with cheaper pencils. It just depends on skill level as well, as like anything, you get what you pay for, but skill level, paper that you're using and the pencils will give you different results. Also, you can blend your pencils out differently. So some people will tell you that they use baby oil and blend their pencils with baby oil. I know that some people use Vaseline and blend their pencils with their Vaseline. Some people use, I've got one here somewhere. Oh, you can't see all this mess that I've just made. Some people use a blending solution, pencil blend solution. This one happens to be Zesta, and you can use this on wax and oil pastels as well as blending oil pencils and wax. So that's a good one. You can also, and I don't know what I've done with them typically. Oh yes, I do. You can also use these This is a colourless blender, and you can actually, for example, I quite like my eye colour, so I'm going to just go over with my blending pencil and just blend that out. So I don't know if you can tell, but that being blended has made that look super shiny and brighter than this side. So sometimes just having a little blend, see if it does it again, just a little blend. It might just be the way the light's hitting it, but I think it looks shinier. So that's quite good for blending, just a normal blending pencil. This one's a Thornton's one, colourless blender. You can also get your Derwent burnisher, which if you're finished doing your pencil layers and you're happy with your colouring, then you can go in and you can just burnish. And all that's really meaning is that you've now decided that that is the way you want your eyes to look. You don't want to put any more layers of pencil on your eyes. You don't want to add anything else. You're happy with how they look, so you've just burnished them. You can do that with pencil yourself. You don't have to use these pencils or these blending pencils. You can just do it with your normal everyday pencils. Once you've finished doing all your light layers, for example, everything that I'm doing here, once I'm finished doing that, all light layers, and I'm happy with the colours that I've got, what I can then do is I can just press a bit harder, and that will then burnish that, so that no more pencil can be put on top of it. You don't have to do that. I mean, you can leave it and you can go back to it 3 weeks later and add more pencil if you want. It's entirely up to yourself. But see how I'm just pulling out some of this pink colour just to dye down that grey. As I say, I don't normally work with this level of grayscale. This is really heavy grayscale here. I quite often with my line art, I quite often will decide where my shadow and light's going to be. So if I'm saying that my light's coming in from this direction, then you'll see me use one of these. All it is a black lead pencil, and this is a 2H for example, and you would see me, if I decided that this was my shadow, you would see me add this as a little bit of a shadow with a pencil on my line art, just to give me the definition, so that I know that there is a cast shadow here, so that when I'm colouring I remember there's a cast shadow. So you'll see me quite often when I'm doing line art, or even when I'm doing stamps, I'll sometimes put in a little bit of pencil just to remind me where I want my shadows to come in from. I kind of do that with markers quite often as well. I'll sometimes just put tiny little arrow where I want to have a cast shadow. It's just how it works for me. For example, here you can tell is a lot darker because her sleeve is making this cast shadow, so this bit here is darker as well, so you would just put this bit here a little bit darker. But this, in this case, the artist has actually done it for you. A bit heavy-handed for my liking, I have to confess. Not bad-mouthing this artist in the slightest, because the artwork's absolutely stunning. I couldn't draw like this. I love the artwork. I just love Asian ladies. I just colouring them. I just love doing them. They're so pretty. So I just take that to be a little bit darker there. And the same along her finger. I'll just make that a little bit darker. And then obviously I'll paint her nails. I was thinking I'd paint her nails red, but I think if I paint her nails red, it'll lose it on her clothing, so I might have to change what colour I'm going to do or nails. So going back to my little flower, I will hope I'm not making you dizzy putting this board this way and that way and this way. I didn't think about it so much when I was doing it. I just thought there and now, oh goodness, it might make you guys dizzy. I hope not, and I hope I'm not just waffling on and I've lost you about 10 sentences back. I'm very passionate about the well-being that crafting, any crafting, brings. I'm very passionate about it. I mean, we've all got our struggles with health, mental health, fast pace of living nowadays, and stressful family lives and stressful working lives. So crafting to me has always been something that I've really enjoyed from being a child and sitting scrapbooking with my mum way back, and my brother and sisters, to what I'm doing now. And anybody that follows us in Craft Friends United, Creative Friends, The Noble Crafter, Facebook pages and groups, or on our YouTube channel, The Noble Crafters on YouTube, will know that recently my husband has taken up crafting because he is now my full-time carer, and he bought me a scan and cut in 2017, and to say that, okay, I did like the fact that I had tattered lace USBs and I could cut out this and that and the next thing from them, but to say that that was really where my interest was and that I couldn't be bothered with it after that is kind of an understatement. And if it wasn't for Kevin now using it, it would have sat and collected dust, the same as my silhouette machine that I bought all those years ago did as well. Because I like my dyes too much. I'm a dye girl, I'm afraid. Nothing wrong with the machines, I love what Kevin does. This 3D work that he does is brilliant. But no, I'm more a dye cutter. I'm more into colouring, painting, mixed media, jelly plates, you name it, I've got it in this room. I try my hand at most crafts, crocheting, little bit of embroidery, wreath making, jewellery making, you name it, I'll try it. I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. But that's good, that's the way I like to be. I never get bored because I'll go from one thing to the other. But just now, for a good while now actually, colouring has been really keeping me captivated. I think the fact that if you're not feeling well or you're having a bad day, the fact that you don't need anything, all you need is your pencils and a bit of paper, and you can just sit and colour. I think that is what makes it all the more rewarding, because at the end of the day you've got something to show. Or you might not finish this at the end of the day, this might take you 2 days, 3 days, a week. As I said, it might take you a long time to finish it, but the fact that you're putting your time and energy into something and you're bringing that something alive, to me is really fun. So as I says to you, I've just noticed when I was looking at the flower that for some reason I've I don't know, I've made her hair. The hair, I should be following the pattern of the hair, but for some reason this looks like I went that way instead of following the pattern, so I'm not so pleased with it. So I'm going to pull it back, and if I can't pull it back, what I will probably do is rub this little section out and start again. And in actual fact, that's not a bad thing to do when I'm on live with you, because you will see that I have made a mistake. I'm not happy. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I'm not happy with the way it's went, so I'm coming back down this way. And just now I'm just using the pencil just to correct what I'm not happy about, and then what I'll do is I will pop in some more of my greys and my blacks and my aubergine. No, it wasn't aubergine, it was eggplant. That reminds me, it was eggplant. The reason I can remember that is because I was having a joke with my friend Caroline and husband at the time. So I remember using eggplant, and I think my eggplant, that's the problem of having so many pencils, you forget where you've taken them from. Normally I keep all my pencils in a little pot until I've finished the picture, so I know what pencils I've been using. But of course, me being me, tonight I thought I would tidy up before coming on live, and didn't think to do that because I thought that I had got as much movement in the hair as I had wanted at that particular time. And it just shows you, you will constantly go back over things that you think you've finished, because it's just one of these things that I seem to do, and I don't think I'm alone with it. I think it's just one of these things that you seem to do. Now, honestly, I've got a black pencil in here and it's hiding. This isn't the one I was looking for, but this will do. So I'll just bring in the hair back to a direction that I like, because I wasn't keen on it being in that direction. And shots here. So as you can see, I'm not doing anything different than what I would do if I wasn't talking to you guys. I'm all over the place because I'll go, I'll start maybe with the hair and the skin, and then as the picture progresses I'll do one part of something, and then I'll look, or the light will catch something and I'll be like, not happy with that. So then I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll go back to the bit that I thought that I'd previously done. I mean, I think there's quite a lot of work to do in this here, because I can see the tooth of the paper through it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. Do you know what? I thought this was black and it isn't. It's actually a browny colour. That would be a good time to use your square, your spare piece of paper that you're using, and check before you put it to your page. But because I've done it there, I'm not going to fret about it. I'm just going to pop a little bit of it in her hair, because that's the beauty of it. Nobody knows where you're going with this in your head, so there's no right or wrong. If you colour something and it's not how you first thought it was going to turn out, but you're happy with the results, then so be it. Nobody needs to know that it's not how you intended it to be in the first place. So that's what I like about it. So I can see that this bit here is a bit lighter than other bits, but because I've brought some of that pencil through, it's going to be okay. And I will go back over the hair and do more to the hair during this colouring, because I've still got quite a lot to do in this colouring. And I don't think you want to watch me finish it all and waffle on to you much longer. So I will probably do most of it offline because I have to decide what colour my flowers are going to be and what colour the bow at the back is going to be. What colour this is going to be. This might be red, I'm not sure yet, I haven't decided. That's a good thing about being your storyteller. You can decide what colour you want your work to be, and you can decide when your work's finished. As I say, there's no right or wrong answers. There's no right or wrong way to do something. It's all about putting some music on you enjoy, sitting quietly colouring, reflecting on your day, phoning a friend and colouring, video chatting a friend and colouring, or just sitting quietly whilst you're waiting on an appointment, or any number of reasons. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this little girl there, and I will be back to show you, or I probably won't come back. What I'll probably do is when Kevin's uploading my video, I'll get him to tag on the finished result so that you guys can see it and see what you think. And also something very exciting that I nearly forgot to mention. Followers of the Noble Crafter YouTube channel and Craft Friends United, we have opened a new Facebook group called Colouring Friends United. So if you're a colourist and would like to join, please feel free to. We'd love to see you there, and you can use any medium to colour with: pens, pencils, pan pastels, twinkling H2Os, watercolour paints, sparkle pens, alcohol markers, brushes, I don't know, any sort of colouring medium you want. Diamond art painters, you can come in, any colouring that you do, you are more than welcome to join us at Colouring Friends United, sorry. And if you are a crafter as well and you haven't already joined Craft Friends United, you'd be very welcome to join there too. You can equally put your colouring pages etc. in that group. It's just that we thought it would be nice to have a dedicated sister group to work along with Craft Friends United. So thank you very much for joining me with this little colouring video. I hope you've got some tips during it and you've found some of what I've been saying useful. If you want to follow me personally, you'll find me at Sharon Noble. On Facebook I have a picture of myself on there. My sister-in-law is Sharon M Noble, just to confuse you all. So you might not get a response if you hit the wrong one, but you'll find me easily enough. And just to make it even more confusing, Sharon M Noble has a picture of Annie on her Facebook. So yeah, if you find that one by accident, don't worry, you'll find me in Craft Friends United, the Noble Crafter, and on my blog, which is Sharon's Creative Rambling at blogspot.com. And if you also are a Pro Marker colourist and would like to play along with the Pro Marker Challenge, that happens every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. Claire, who is our team leader, would be delighted to see you there, as would the rest of the team, if you fancy taking part. And there's always little prizes for the top 3, etc. Or maybe it's just the first person, I'm not sure. Anyway, there's lots of nice reasons to join these things. We are having a colour along in Craft Friends United just now. I'm not sure if I have told you that. And there is artwork that has been provided free of charge by an artist called Rena. Very kindly let us use some of our drawings. I will be starting the same craft along in the new colouring group. So if you haven't joined in on Craft Friends United and would like to join in Colouring Friends United, then please do so. There is a few questions to answer, but they're not very hard to answer. It's just a couple of things, just so we know that you're not a robot or whatever these things that come in spam us are. So do feel free to join us there. So with all that being said, waffle, 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 I'm now going to wish you all a good evening, and I will be back to show you the result of my little Asian lady later. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.